Have you ever walked into a room, forgotten why, then stopped yourself and whispered, "Is this how it begins?" That quiet fear of slipping, forgetting, fading. It touches nearly every man past 70. But what if I told you that your brain might be far younger than you think? According to a 2023 study published in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience, some adults over 75 still show the same cognitive sharpness as 30-year-olds, even outperforming them in areas like emotional regulation and long-term memory. You heard that right. Some brains don't just survive old age, they refine. I'm Dr. James, and today we're uncovering 7 subtle, science-backed signs that your brain is still youthful, no matter what the calendar says. Stay with me until the end, because knowing these signs might give you something most people forget to give themselves after 75. Hope. Before we begin, I would appreciate it if you like this video. You can help me continue to spread the old age lesson. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like this video, please comment number 1. If you don't like it, comment number 0 to let me know so I can make a better video for you. Now, let's get started. Sign number 1, you still enjoy learning new things. Let me ask you something gentle but real. Have you recently tried to learn something new? Not because you had to, but because it sparked something inside you? A new word in Spanish? A new button on your phone? Or maybe just how to grow basil in a small pot by the window? If so, my friend, your brain is still young. Scientists call it neuroplasticity, but I call it the forest of the mind. Imagine your brain like rich, dark soil. Each time you learn something new, even something small, it's like planting another tree. When you're curious, you're not aging, you're rooting yourself deeper into life. A Harvard Health report from 2021 confirms this. Older adults who actively pursue new knowledge, reading, learning tech, trying new hobbies, show significantly slower cognitive decline than those who don't. Even better, their emotional resilience and memory retention improve as they stretch their brains in gentle, meaningful ways. But here's why this matters more for men after 75. Because society often tells older men to slow down, to rest, to stop learning, to just let the world pass by like a train they're no longer riding. But the truth is, curiosity isn't a child's game, it's your birthright. And it's one of the final fires that refuses to go out if you keep feeding it. So how do you know if your learning spirit is still alive? You feel drawn to documentaries, podcasts, or biographies. You like to ask why, or how does that work? You get a sense of joy, even pride, when you figure something out on your own. You're not afraid to ask for help when learning new tools. Let me tell you a story. There's a man I know, Mr. Eugene, 82. A retired railroad worker, hands like leather, eyes like coal. 2 years ago, his granddaughter asked him if he wanted to join her in learning how to paint with watercolor. He laughed. "Me? I can barely draw a straight line." But she showed up the next day with 2 brushes and a blank sheet of paper. Today, his tiny apartment is covered in soft landscapes and portraits of trees. He says, "Every time I dip the brush, I feel something spark. Like I'm waking up an old part of me." You see, it wasn't about painting. It was about becoming a student again. And students, by nature, are young. Not in age, but in attitude. Here's my personal reflection for you. Learning is not about being smart. It's about staying open. It's not about remembering everything. It's about being willing to remember something new every day. And when your mind is still open, still asking questions, still feeling wonder, then your brain, no matter your age, is not declining. It is expanding. You're not growing old, you're growing wide, like a river. So I ask you, When was the last time you tried something new, just for the joy of it? Was it a recipe? A tool? A fact about history? Tell me in the comments. I want to hear. And if this touched something in you, please like this video. It helps me keep sharing these old age lessons. Stay with me, because the next sign is not about memory. It's about how you carry your heart in moments of tension. Sign number 2, you can stay calm in conflict. Have you noticed that arguments don't affect you like they used to? That you no longer feel the need to win, prove, or punish, even when someone pushes your buttons? If so, you may be carrying one of the clearest signs of a youthful brain. Calm in conflict. You see, when we're younger, the brain often reacts like a flame. One spark, and it burns. Hot, fast, and loud. But a mature, young brain doesn't react. It responds. It breathes. It listens. It pauses. And science confirms this. In a 2022 study from the University of California, researchers found that older adults with resilient brain aging had stronger connectivity between the amygdala, the emotion center, and the prefrontal cortex, the logic and decision-making area. That means when something upsets you, your emotional brain doesn't hijack the wheel. Instead, your logical brain speaks softly, like a steady hand on your shoulder. Let's not say something we'll regret. Why does this matter even more after 75? Because as we age, emotions carry more weight. Relationships become fewer, but deeper. The cost of bitterness grows heavier, while the reward of peace becomes priceless. If your brain is still young, you might notice signs like, you walk away instead of lashing out. You say, I understand, more than you're wrong. You feel no shame in saying, let's talk later when we're both calmer. You find it easier to forgive, or to let small things go. Let me tell you about Mr. Carlos, 79. A widower, father of 4, and retired firefighter. Last year, one of his sons got into a heated argument with him over a family decision. The younger man yelled, accused, pointed fingers. But Mr. Carlos just sat there, silent, calm. Then he stood up, walked over, placed a hand on his son's shoulder and said, "You don't have to agree with me, son, but you don't have to hurt me to make your point." There was no revenge, no shouting, just quiet truth. And in that moment, everyone in the room, including his angry son, saw the strength of a youthful mind. You see, a reactive brain is a noisy drum, but a youthful brain in old age is like a still lake. It reflects without disturbance. It doesn't need to win, it needs to understand. Here's what I believe. Peace is not the absence of conflict. It's the wisdom to know which conflict is worth having. And when your brain can choose dignity over domination, compassion over pride, then you're not aging poorly. You're aging intelligently. This isn't decline, it's rising above. So I ask you, have you noticed yourself becoming more patient in your older years? Do you find it easier now to walk away, to breathe, to choose softness instead of fire? If so, leave a comment below. Tell me how you keep calm when things heat up. And if this resonated with you, like the video, so we can keep spreading this healing energy to more men in their 70s and beyond. Coming up next is something even more powerful. It's about how the stories you tell could be proof that your brain is still glowing with vitality. Sign number 3, you still tell great stories. Have you ever started a sentence with, "Back in my day," and suddenly everyone in the room goes quiet, waiting? Not because they pity your age, but because your words carry something. If that still happens, your brain is still alive, rich, and youthful. Storytelling, you see, is not just memory. It's the orchestra of your brain. Memory, emotion, language, rhythm, all playing together in harmony. When you recall a moment from decades ago, with detail, feeling, and reflection, your hippocampus, prefrontal cortex, and language centers all light up like a well-lit village at dusk. According to researchers at Northwestern University, older adults who regularly recount vivid personal stories, especially with emotional depth, perform significantly better on memory and cognition tests. The brain doesn't just store old stories, it refines them, like polishing wood until it gleams. Now, why does this matter more after 75? Because many older men silently fear they're becoming invisible, that no one wants to hear what they've lived through. But the truth is, the way you tell a story reveals the strength of your brain and your spirit. So, what are the signs that your storytelling brain is still sharp? You remember small details, smells, sounds, colors. You connect the past to a lesson, not just a moment. You hold people's attention when you speak. They listen. You sometimes even surprise yourself with what you recall. Let me introduce you to Mr. Raymond, age 85. He used to be a bricklayer. Nothing fancy, he'd say. But one afternoon, sitting outside with his grandson, he began to describe how the bricks of an old schoolhouse in 1962 were laid in freezing rain. He remembered the sound of his boots on the scaffold, the warmth of the soup his wife brought, the way the wind stung his ears. His grandson was mesmerized. "Grandpa," he said, "it's like I was right there." Raymond smiled and said, "When you tell it right, even the past comes back to breathe." That's not just nostalgia. That's neuroplasticity at work. That's memory integration, emotional processing, and language sequencing, all proving that the brain is not shutting down, it's deepening. Here's what I've noticed. Men who continue to tell stories well in their 70s and 80s often also have lower risk of cognitive decline, higher levels of social engagement, stronger emotional regulation. Because when you can turn memory into meaning, you're not losing yourself. You're leaving something behind, and that is a kind of mental vitality that even the young don't always have. You're not forgetting, you're refining. You're not fading, you're crystallizing. So I ask you gently, what's a story from your life that you still love to tell? Is it about your first job, your first love, the war, or that trip you never thought you'd take? If you feel like sharing, write a piece of it below, even just one sentence. You'll be surprised how powerful that memory still is. And if you're someone who still values the power of a well-told story, please like this video. Because the next sign of a youthful brain might not be in your head. It might be in your feet. Sign number 4, you still walk with rhythm. Let me ask you something you may never have thought about. When was the last time you paid attention to the way you walk? Not how far, not how fast, but how you move through space. If your steps still feel balanced, steady, and connected to your surroundings, then your brain is doing far more than you think. You see, movement is memory. Walking is not just a task for the legs. It's a dance choreographed by the brain. Your cerebellum, motor cortex, basal ganglia, and even parts of your frontal lobe all work together in perfect timing just to help you take a smooth, purposeful step. It's like a symphony. If even one instrument plays out of tune, your gait becomes stiff, your balance unstable. But if you're still walking with rhythm, with flow, your orchestra is still in harmony. A major study published in the Journal of Gerontology in 2020 found that walking speed and coordination are directly linked to cognitive health. In fact, seniors who maintained a stable and rhythmic walking pace were 43% less likely to experience significant memory decline over a 6-year period. That's right. How you walk reflects how your brain thinks. And after 75, this matters more than ever. Because this is the age when people begin to fall, and not just physically. Falls of memory, falls of confidence. But often, those early signs are visible in the body before the mind. A shuffle, a hesitation, a turn that becomes a wobble. So how do you know if your brain is still dancing? You walk with ease, not stiffness. You're aware of your surroundings as you move. You can navigate stairs or curbs without second-guessing. Your steps have rhythm, not just routine. Let me tell you about Mr. Leonard, age 78. He doesn't use a cane. Not because he's stubborn, but because he trains balance like a muscle. Each morning he walks the park trail near his home, not just forward, but sideways, backwards, sometimes even in figure eights. He says, "I'm not just walking, I'm teaching my brain to listen to my feet." Doctors told him years ago he had mild cognitive impairment, but his condition hasn't progressed. In fact, it's improved. Because through movement, Leonard reconnected his body and brain, like two old friends who finally started talking again. Here's what I believe with all my heart. You can't fake balance. You can't pretend to walk with rhythm if your mind is disconnected. But if you still feel your steps, if you walk with awareness, with dignity, with grace, then you are not declining. You are anchored. You are still here, not just surviving the years, but moving through them with purpose. This isn't slowness, it's sacred rhythm. This isn't weakness, it's wisdom made visible. So I ask you gently, as a brother, how do you feel when you walk these days? Do you rush? Do you wobble? Or do you feel each foot touching the earth like a quiet drumbeat? If this spoke to you, let me know in the comments. And if you still move with care, with pride, like a man who knows where he's going. Like this video, so more men can walk this aging path with strength. Next, we'll explore something even more revealing. Not how you move, but how you laugh when things don't go as planned. Sign number 5. You laugh at yourself. Let me ask you something soft but revealing. When was the last time you made a mistake, then chuckled instead of scolding yourself? Maybe you forgot your glasses were already on your head, or called your grandson by your brother's name, and instead of shame, you smiled. If that happens often, then your brain is not falling apart. It's flexible. And that's a gift. You see, the ability to laugh at yourself, to find humor in your imperfections, is a rare kind of intelligence. It's not the same as telling jokes. It's deeper. It means your brain is still integrating memory, emotional regulation, and social awareness all at once. A study from the University of Zurich found that older adults who can generate and appreciate self-deprecating humor directed gently at themselves, tend to have better executive functioning, including mental flexibility, working memory, and stress recovery. That means the kind of laughter that makes you shake your head and say, "Ah, I'm getting old," isn't proof that you're getting old. It's proof that your brain is still young enough to see the big picture. Why does this matter more after 75? Because aging comes with daily reminders that we're not as fast, sharp, or strong as we used to be. And that can either make a man bitter or better. The ones who age with grace tend to smile through it, not to hide the pain, but to rise above it, to say, "Yes, I'm changing, and that's okay." So how do you know if you still carry that playful spark? You laugh when you mix things up. You can smile when someone gently teases you. You don't take yourself too seriously. You often say things like, "Oops, there goes my brain again," with a wink, not a wince. Let me share a story about Mr. Franklin, 83. He once went to the post office to mail a birthday card to his daughter. He waited in line, filled out the envelope, then realized he had addressed it to himself. Everyone behind him noticed. Some snickered, others looked embarrassed. But Franklin? He burst out laughing, loud and full, like a boy who just pulled a prank on himself. He turned and said, "Well, I always said I like getting mail." The whole line laughed with him. In that moment, it wasn't about memory. It was about humility, confidence, the quiet power of a man who is no longer ashamed of being human. Here's my reflection for you. A stiff mind breaks, a playful mind bends. When you can laugh at your forgetfulness, it doesn't mean your brain is broken. It means your soul is still light. And where the soul stays light, the mind stays agile. You're not slipping, you're dancing with life. So I ask you, brother, when was the last time you laughed at yourself? Not in shame, not in self-pity, but in honest joy. If you remember a funny moment, share it with us in the comments. Let others smile with you. We all need that warmth. And if you believe that laughter is a sign of strength, not decline, then like this video. Next, we're going deeper, into something quieter, more sacred, your sense of awe. Because a youthful brain isn't just sharp, it still knows how to wonder. No banja san sang, toi se tiep tuk voi I tuong so saun gai. An tiep tuk la toi via tiep lien tai. Sign number 6. You still feel wonder. When was the last time something small made you pause and just breathe? A bird landing on your windowsill. The warmth of afternoon sun on your hands. A grandchild's voice saying, "I love you," without being asked. If moments like these still move you, make your heart swell, make your eyes soften, your brain isn't aging. It's awakening. You see, wonder is not just emotion. It's a whole brain experience, rooted in the orbitofrontal cortex, parietal lobe, and dopamine pathways that register novelty, beauty, and awe. When you feel wonder, your brain is literally lighting up, forming new connections and strengthening old ones. In fact, a 2021 study in the journal Emotion found that older adults who reported frequent moments of awe, moments of quiet astonishment, scored higher on tests of emotional regulation, empathy, and memory. Wonder isn't childish. It's sacred. It means your brain hasn't gone numb. It hasn't given in to boredom or bitterness. It's still curious, still soft enough to feel something deeply. And after 75, that's more than rare. It's golden. Because many older men lose this sense of wonder. Life becomes routine, survival, managing aches, watching time pass like clouds from behind a window. But the ones who still pause, who still feel beauty, who still say, "Wow," they're not decaying. They're tuning in to something deeper than logic. They're listening with the mind and the soul. So how do you know if this part of your brain still shines? You often stop and admire small things. You feel touched by nature, music, or kind gestures. You still ask questions no one can fully answer. Why are we here? Where does love go when we die? You feel a quiet connection to something bigger than yourself. Let me tell you about Mr. Haruto, 91. Every afternoon he sets up his easel in the corner of his porch. But he doesn't paint people, he paints clouds, soft swirls of gray and rose and indigo, never the same twice. I once asked him why. He said, "No matter how many years I live, the sky still shows me something new. And when I paint it, I remember. I haven't seen everything yet." That's not just a hobby. That's wonder, alive in his blood. In my opinion, a man who can still feel awe is not done. He is opening, like a river that grows wider and deeper as it moves closer to the ocean. This isn't age, this is deep seeing. So I ask you now, gently, what made you feel awe this week? Was it a prayer, a laugh, a breeze through an open window? Share it below. Let us know what still touches your spirit. And if you believe, as I do, that a heart full of wonder keeps the brain full of light, then like this video. Because next, we arrive at the final sign. And it's perhaps the most powerful of all. Forgiveness. Sign number 7. You forgive faster. Tell me honestly. Is it easier now to let things go than it was in your younger years? Do you find yourself saying, "It's not worth the anger," or "We're all just doing our best"? If so, your brain may be showing one of its most powerful signs of youth. The ability to forgive. You see, forgiveness isn't just a virtue, it's a neurological decision. When you forgive, your brain activates the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, responsible for reason, the ventromedial prefrontal cortex, responsible for compassion, and even reduces activity in the amygdala, which governs fear and anger. In simpler terms, forgiveness rewires your mind for peace. A groundbreaking study published in Cognitive, Affective, and Behavioral Neuroscience found that seniors who practice forgiveness regularly experience lower cortisol levels, better memory recall, and stronger emotional resilience, all markers of a youthful brain. And here's the deeper truth. After 75, forgiveness is not just about others. It's also about forgiving yourself. For the things you didn't say, for the mistakes you made when you didn't know better, for the regrets that still echo quietly when no one's watching. Many older men carry silent guilt, not because they are bad men, but because they are honest men. But the ones who learn to release, to breathe, to bless and let go, often glow with a different kind of light, a softness, a dignity. So what are the signs your brain is still forgiving, still young in its spirit? You don't hold on to grudges for long. You say it's okay and mean it. You revisit old wounds with compassion, not blame. You choose peace over punishment, even when you're right. Let me tell you about Mr. Samuel, 85. He hadn't spoken to his brother in 40 years. A fight over land, family, pride. Then one day, after a minor stroke, Samuel picked up the phone. He didn't rehearse a speech. He just said, "Brother, I miss you. And I'm sorry for my part." They cried together, two old men who finally stopped measuring pain and just embraced it. His daughter told me afterward, "Ever since that day, Dad's memory seems sharper. He smiles more. He sleeps deeper." Forgiveness didn't just soften his heart. It revived his mind, and I believe that deeply, because carrying old hurt is like dragging sandbags through time. Your steps get slower, your thoughts get heavier. But when you forgive, the weight lifts, and what remains is clarity. This isn't weakness, it's freedom. This isn't forgetting, it's remembering who you are. So I ask you now, gently and respectfully, is there someone you've been thinking about lately? A person you haven't spoken to in years? Or perhaps yourself? If any part of your heart stirred during this section, write "I'm ready" in the comments. You don't have to tell the story, just take the first step. And if you believe in the healing power of letting go, like this video, because now we'll close everything together and revisit what it really means to have a young brain after 75. So let me bring you back to the beginning. Maybe you've walked into a room and forgotten why. Maybe you've misplaced names, appointments, or memories that once felt carved in stone. And maybe, just maybe, a quiet fear has crept in. Is my mind slipping away? But now you know something deeper. A youthful brain isn't measured by how fast you recall a phone number or how sharp your math still is. It's measured by rhythm, by curiosity, by forgiveness, by how gently you speak, how calmly you listen, how willingly you feel wonder. It's found in laughter, even when things go wrong, in stories, even when the years stretch far behind you, in peace, even when old wounds still whisper. You're not broken, you are becoming. You are not fading, you are filtering. Stripping away what doesn't matter, so what's left is pure mind, pure heart. If even one of these signs lives in you, if you still laugh, still forgive, still walk with grace or feel awe in small things, then I want you to remember this truth. Your brain is still young where it matters most, in its capacity for meaning. So I invite you softly. If any part of this video spoke to you, write in the comments, number 1. Let's show each other we're not alone in this beautiful chapter of life. Let's keep growing together. Subscribe for more healing truths and positive energy, because aging should never mean silence, shame, or surrender. See you in the next video.